Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes.
Bingo.
Bingo.
Success.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
All right.
es un honor tener la oportunidad de conocer por fin. Ya está Andrés, el traductor, para que todo salga bien. Vamos a iniciar sobre lo mejor de tu carrera y es en el año 1977. Obviamente sabemos que en Triángulo Mortal fue una de las películas más destacadas de tus inicios. Y lo que quisiera preguntarte es, ¿cómo puedes explicar desde su perspectiva la evolución que ha tenido las historias de espías de antes a como lo es ahora? Yo sé que ha salido en un montón.
I can only say that it's easy for you to say.
Don't worry, don't worry. John, okay, let's start back early in your career in the 70s with your first role in the Deadly Triangle.
Oh, the Deadly Triangle. Yeah.
Yes,
God,
yes.
That's a long time ago.
Just a long time. And we want to know, how can you explain the evolution that the histories of the spies movies had?
Spies movies. Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
had from that movie to the movies that we see now.
I'm trying to figure out if I even understand your question. You mean like a spy movie like Deadly Triangle, which wasn't really a spy movie?
No, tell us. How do you feel about it?
It didn't, I mean, I don't remember it as, I wouldn't remember the Deadly Triangle as a spy movie. All I remember is it was the movie that got me into the Union, and I played a skier, an Olympic skier. And there was, God, was there spy stuff going on in that movie? I can't recall it. All I remember is that they needed an Austrian, which I'm not, but I said I am. They wanted me to be a cross-country skier, which I had never done in my life.
Wow.
But I had a friend who was teaching skiing up in the mountain, and I took a private plane up the mountain here in California, and he taught me at night how to cross-country ski so I could ski into the shot and out of the shot, and I got pretty good at it after about 3 or 4 hours, because it's not that difficult. And there was something else that I said I could do, which I couldn't do, and I did the movie and I enjoyed it. I remember when I walked in and did the first rehearsal, I got so intense that I got actually a standing ovation from the crew, and then one of the actors said to me, you know, this is just a rehearsal, you don't have to give it your all. and I said, I don't know what else to give except myself. So that's all I remember. I don't remember spying going on in that movie at all. Maybe the show was meant to be some kind of a spy show, but I remember there were fights I was getting in, sort of verbal fights. Anyhow, I should stop so you can start translating.
No, you can tell whatever you want. I will nod the head from you. No, I will ask him what the spy thing that he watched in that film, but I will translate it because that answer is pure gold. Okay. John, Norbert me da el espacio para traducir. Dice que la respuesta es oro puro, pero él dice que la película no era sobre espías, a no ser que tú hayas visto
El
un elemento de espía.
trata de resolver un asesinato, por eso es que las películas de espías se trascendió.
Yes. The thing that is telling me, John, is that the sportist is trying to solve a murder.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there was a murder that had occurred, and I think I was possibly the murderer. mean, there was some sort of sense of, I mean, there's always somebody who you think, he's the one, but it wasn't me. That much I know.
Okay, I will translate. No, John, tienes toda la razón. Esto dice, pero bueno, comencemos porque el inicio es oro puro. Dice que él no recuerda algo de espías, pero que esa fue la película que lo metió a la unión de autores. Bien, adentrándonos en esos años, él le dijeron, tú eres austriaco, vamos a hacer una película sobre esquiadores. Y él dijo, pues no soy ni austriaco, ni soy esquiador, pero por el hecho de obtener el rol, resulta que aprendió, es que esto es lo increíble, hacer esquí de cross country en una noche. Wow. Lo hizo tan bien que en una prueba, en una demostración para la película, en una demostración para la película, resulta que lo ovacionaron y le dijeron, pero ven, no tienes que hacerlo, o sea, como si fueran los olímpicos, pero él aprendió. Resulta que sí, él dijo, no recuerdo nada de espías, sí recuerdo que hay unas peleas verbales en la película, por eso yo te contrapregunté, tú dijiste eso y digo, bueno, spoiler, claro, hay un asesinato por resolver, dicen que yo fui el asesino, pero todos sabemos que no lo fue.
Exacto. Oh, qué gran respuesta. Eso es lo mejor que he tenido. Andrés, yo creo que es mejor que tú.
It could be. Can I say something here? There is a possibility, and I would have to look it up and remember what the hell it was about. But that same director who got me actually my SAG card, wonderful guy, an old timer who'd been working in movies forever. In television, he cast me later on, years later, in a television show, and I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to look it up here on my iPad. That had to do with spying, I believe.
I am searching for that.
But yeah, let me see. McNamara is The Deadly Triangle, Midnight Express, Human Thief. Masquerade, Loman.
John, es importante acá esperar porque es una respuesta color.
I can't remember the name of the show.
Don't worry. Yeah. We will search.
Yeah.
But I will
just that director, I worked with him at least once again. And there might have been sort of an overlayer of spy stuff going on. I'm not sure.
Okay, I will tell that to John. John, tú puedes editar si quieres esta parte. Lo que pasa es que Norbert nos está diciendo un dato buenísimo. Resulta que, de hecho, con ese mismo director con el que está agradecidísimo porque fue el que lo metió a la unión, él hizo después, lo que pasa es que la estamos buscando, una serie de espías con Norbert. Lo que pasa es que ahorita la buscamos.
El director de Charles Dubin.
Sí, pero él quiere acordarse es la serie, porque hizo después una serie de espías. Que dice que, bueno, entonces creo que es la oportunidad de mi pregunta.
Exacto.
Okay, Norbert, since we are going to search for that series, but this time it's a question for myself, because you made a lot of works with the director Albert Pyun. In fact, yes. You were on Arcade. That's one of my favorite movies.
Which one?
And Arcade from
Arcade.
Yes.
Yeah. And you must have been a kid at that point, right? You were a young boy.
And I rewatched it.
And kids love that movie.
It's funny because you were in a lot of movies with him, a co-director, and years later, you did work as a voiceover in amazing video games.
As what?
Voiceover in video games.
Voiceover in video, that's true, yeah. I played, in fact, it wasn't voiceover. I played Adolf Hitler in a video game.
Yes, and that I love that video game. It's called.
It's a pretty cool game, and that was fun to do. I mean, to play Adolf, and I mean, it's in Germany because of what I say. It's so outrageous that in Germany they have all these laws. They couldn't use my voice for it because the things I say are so outrageous that it isn't allowed by law in Germany. So, but in the American version and probably the other countries in Europe, it's actually me doing it.
Yes,
But it was also it wasn't just a voiceover. I mean, they put all these dots on my face, and so if you look at it carefully, you can see that it's me. That's my face, you know. But it's very interesting how they work, these guys.
yes, and I was going to ask you, but you answered me perfectly. How does it feel to get this cycle to working with this co-director to work in video games? But I think you answered.
You mean how does it compare to work with Albert Pune and video games? No.
No.
How does it
feel to work in cool movies with Albert Pune? Like all these amazing stories with video game cyborgs.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. But let me see if I can ask you, tell you the question you asked me. How does it feel to work in video games as opposed to movies? Is that the question?
In video games and working with Albert Pune.
Well, those are two completely different questions. To work in video games is sort of odd, and I was not completely ever comfortable doing it. It's very fast moving. It's I mean, I enjoyed doing the Hitler thing because he was such an outrageous character and he was written in such an outrageous way. Now, and they also move very fast, and you know, that sort of bothers me sometimes. Now, Albert Pune is a whole different ballgame. Albert Pune, I love the guy. By the way, he is not well. He's got a disease that is slowly tearing him down. It'll kill him, and he is not. I mean, he's still working. He will probably work on the day he dies. But we're still in touch. He called me. I did an audition. No, I never even auditioned for him. Never. He met me, and we just liked each other. And he gave me a part where I play a guy. I forget the name of the movie, but I play a guy who eats people. I mean, he's a Menschenfresser, and he's also a hippie at the same time. I have no idea why he thought I could do it, because I'm sort of by nature rather charming and talkative, and how he saw that character in me, I have no idea. But he gave me total freedom, and I nailed the guy. I mean, it was fun to do. He was the guy's completely out of his mind, doesn't look like me. And after that, he would just come by to my house and drop scripts off and say, "You want to do this?" And then we'd go all over Europe and various places. We shot in Mexico as well. And he would often, not always, but he would often, he's one of those guys who he never stops working. And which I actually think might be part of why he's not doing so well right now. I think he slept 3 hours a night. That's all, period. And I don't think that's a healthy lifestyle. He also always wrote his own movies, but we would do movies in Eastern Europe with a movie star that is sort of on the way down. And then he would come by and would drop another script off, and he said, "On the weekend, we'll shoot that movie." So during the week, we'd shoot the major movie with the movie stars, and then we would make another movie, shoot another movie on the weekend, which we then would sell in Cannes for not a lot of money, but money anyhow. And I mean, he gave me parts, anything from the weakest, slimiest human being that you've ever met to the hero who gets the girl. I mean, he just completely trusted me. Now, I might have possibly preferred to have Scorsese, that same relationship with Scorsese, but I didn't. I had it with Albert Pune, who essentially made B movies, you know, but we loved each other and still do. He's a wonderful guy.
Robert, I got to tell you first, Norbert, sorry, saying him, he's really one of my favorite directors. And today, the day
great.
that we are making this interview, my grandma got diagnosed with cancer. So it's hard, but I wish both my grandma and Albert the best. And I think the movie was Drive to Be Dreams, the first movie that you made.
Radioactive Dreams, that's it.
Es que, antes de que respondiera, esta pregunta es muy emocional, esta respuesta es muy emocional, de hecho. Antes de yo hacer la pregunta, me dijo, claro, tú debiste ser un niño cuando viste Arcade, tú sabes cuál pregunta es, ¿no? Que él había trabajado con Albert Pune en Arcade y hizo una gran serie de películas y dio como un círculo completo porque pasó pues de Arcade a videojuegos. Dijo, sí, de hecho, y lo dijo en palabras de Norbert, ¿no? Lo último que he hecho hice de Hitler en Wolfenstein, y el trabajo de Wolfenstein, dijo, no es voz en over, de hecho me grabaron con puntos y todo, y fue tan duro, digamos, como la recepción que tuvo en Alemania, porque es un tema, lo que te contaba, es un tema muy, muy complejo, que pues fue allá, pues hubo con mucha pelea, mucho badlas, pero él le encantó. La cuestión, esto es cuando le hice la pregunta, dijo que es muy diferente, y salvo que disfrutó lo de Wolfenstein, dice que no le gusta la industria de videojuegos. Apareció en varios, pero no le gusta porque dice que él no le gusta grabar rápido. Él ama los sets. Sí. Con Albert, acá hay dos datos, uno muy triste y uno que, pues bueno, todo vale oro, sino que me refiero que cuando se conocieron, él nunca ha tenido que audicionar para todas las películas que ha hecho con él. Y le dijo, y él dijo, ¿por qué yo? Dijo, quiero darte el papel de un hippie que es caníbal. Dijo, ¿por qué yo? Desde ahí ha funcionado también que él dice en forma de broma, quisiera tener la relación que tengo con Albert, con tal vez con una persona como Scorsese. Pero a mí me encanta saber que yo he hecho parte de la amplia carrera de uno de los reyes del cine B. Dice que Albert ahorita no está bien. Tiene una enfermedad que probablemente lo mate.
Lo lamentamos.
Yo le dije que le mandara de nuestra parte saludos. Es más, le conté algo fuerte, ¿no? Incluso hoy yo estoy recibiendo una noticia que en mi casa hay un familiar que está enfermo, pero que le mando lo mejor. Dice que la razón por la que Albert está enfermo, y esto es lo agridulce, es porque él solo duerme 3 o 4 horas al día. Él dice, voy a hacer películas hasta que se muera, y en todas las películas lo va a llamar. Entonces, eso es lo que pasó.
Wow.
Let me add something here, which was a little magical thing. In Radioactive Dreams, my brother had just died, and he was an artist who made posters back in the 60s for, famous rock and rollers in, their concerts. And let me see if I don't have one of his posters right here. But when I saw the movie, it starts out with me being upstairs and you don't see me, and the camera slowly crawls up the stairs. And there were 2 posters of my brother going up the stairs. They were like on the wall. And it was sort of like my brother going, "Hey, Norbert, how you doing?" from the other side. And it was just sort of, it added magic, a sort of a strange magic to the entire experience.
Wow, John, acá hay una historia muy bella que nos quiere regalar Norbert. Resulta que el hermano de él en los años 50 era digamos como un artista que hacía pósters para bandas de rock and roll. Resulta que hay un dato muy bueno y muy interesante y muy extraño. Si te has visto Radioactive Dreams, sabes que empieza con la cámara haciendo un paneo subiendo unas escaleras. Resulta que, como por cuestión de magia del cine, estaban 2 pósters de él. Y él dice, es como mi hermano saludándome del otro espectro, diciéndome, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Yes, right.
Genial. Eso, qué linda experiencia. No solo este dato más importante, vamos a tocar también un dato súper bueno que Norbert ama y es la lista de Schindler. Wow. Su visión como Albert Hüher, ese es su personaje, Albert Hüher, es destacado. Y ahí es donde le hago la pregunta, Norbert, y es, ¿qué opinas de la visión de este personaje que plantean toda la película, 3 horas y 17 minutos? O sea, hasta el momento que usted se dio cuenta de la visión que tenía de Albert Hüher al estar en la primera vez que actuó hasta ahorita, a la actualidad, ¿qué ha cambiado en el pensamiento de Albert Hüher?
Okay, we are going to talk about, as you know, from Albert Hüher, from the Schindler's List. What is your point of view about the vision?
Say that again.
Yes, we are going to talk about
Schindler's List. Yes, I got
Albert
that.
Hüher. What is the vision that you got from this character before making the movie and then making the role?
Well, it's sort of a lengthy story. Let me see if I can pack it short. To start with, I had just met a casting agent. We had just met so she would know me. And her husband was representing an actor, a well-known Australian actor. I have to apologize, but I'm real bad with names. And he had just finished a movie with Spielberg had produced, and it was directed by a famous German actor, whose name will come to me as I tell the story. And he wanted to audition for Spielberg for the part of Schindler. He also looked like Schindler very much. And so he wanted to do the audition with a real German actor. And he called over to his wife, do you know any German actors? And she called back. It was like there was a hallway connecting them. She said, yeah, I just met Norbert Weisser. And so we met, and there were like 3 scenes that Spielberg had given him. And we did all these 3 scenes with this famous German director. And I'm pissed off that I can't think of his goddamn name. I mean, he's world, he's a world movie star. He's dead by now. He has died. In any case,
Werner Herzog?
Huh?
Wenders Herzog? No.
No, he wasn't a director. He was an actor, famous actor. It'll come to me eventually, I hope. I'll also so he
Bruno
directed,
Ganz?
huh?
Bruno Ganz?
No, he's older than that. He's from a different generation before Bruno Ganz, because Bruno Ganz is sort of my age, more or less. And so he directed us. He sent the tapes to Spielberg. Spielberg called us, both of us, and said, come in. And I want to direct you guys. And so then he directed the 2 of us. And then he had people flying in from all over the world. And he called me and said, would you play? And I was playing the commandant in those auditions. The commandant of the concentration camp. And so I did all these auditions with all these wonderful actors coming from all over the world. Then at the end of it, I finally said, because I hadn't read the script, are there any good parts left in it that are worth doing? And Spielberg said, sure. And he gave me like 3 different characters. One of them was completely cut out, and I almost took on that one. it was a very short. It was just one scene, but I saw him, the character. I saw him sort of like the soul of Germany in the Third Reich, because he just keeps. It's a great scene. It's like these two musicians. Am I talking too long, or are you holding? You're fine, right? You're okay. Okay. It's he sits out on there's a party and all the Nazis are there, and he sits out there getting drunk, and there are these two brothers who play violin and another and guitar, and one of them turns to the other, they're Jewish musicians, and he says, "I'm going to kill this guy," because they were playing this Jewish blues, this kind of heartbreaking, sad music. And the guy keeps coming back and says, "Play it again." He keeps saying, "Play this song again." And he just sits there listening to this song, drinking. And so he turns to his brother, or his I think it was his brother, and he says, "We're going to kill this guy." And they keep playing. I mean, they play their hearts out. And then the guy goes out onto the porch, pulls out his gun, and blows his brains out. And I always thought that is a perfect example of you know, the guilt, the German guilt, that this man had done horrible things, and he knew he had done horrible things, and he understood it and killed himself, which was the only alternative left to him. Anyhow, I almost took this part, and it was cut out. And so I then went for Huya, who's an interesting, fucked up character. And it got actually tricky when I came into, well, maybe that's too much to tell. Should I go on?
You can go on forever.
As long as I want. All right, I tell you, I got there, and, you know, and Spielberg was there. We had a great time. It was an evening, you know, we had some drinks, and I met his wife. And the next day, there was a guy who made sure, a German guy, maybe it was Austrian, he made sure that the commissioned officers, I mean, he made sure that all the army stuff, German army stuff, was absolutely correct. And there is a meeting that I have with Schindler in the movie, because I was sort of his right-hand man who did the business, not for Schindler, but did the business for the commandant. And, you know, sort of side business. Part of that is all cut out of the movie. He made extra money for the commandant. And so there was a meeting between officers and commissioned officers. And I was a commissioned officer, which is in Germany an Unteroffizier. So a minor guy. By the way, this guy really was lived for real. And he was hung after the war. They hung him. And so this guy who made sure that everything was correct in terms of German army, he said a commissioned officer and an officer would never have dinner in the same place. They would be separated. And so they cut me out of that scene, and it was like a 2-page monologue I have in it, and gave it to another actor. And I found that out that first night, and I felt like, fuck it, I'm out of here. I said yes to this, but I mean, this was like a 2-page monologue, and the rest of it was like the scene here and the scene there. And I really wrestled with myself. I almost walked out of that movie, but I'm really glad I didn't. Anyhow, so.
And we're really glad you didn't walk out.
So am I, yeah.
This question is also from myself, because I remember your role as Hans Namut in Pollock. I love Pollock. So
that's a good movie. And my good friend, Ed Harris, directed that. We did a play. Ed and I did a play on Broadway together, which is a wonderful play. It's called Taking Sides. It's a really wonderful play about a famous German conductor. But in any case, that's a different.
No, in fact, Ed Harris later did the role from Beethoven in copying Beethoven. It was a great movie and a great performance.
Yes.
Yes. And what I want to ask you, in your career, you had felt like Hans because I watched that movie Pollock, and also I watched Midnight Express, and I want to know if you feel like a person that he's presenting to the world a new way to watch reality, because both movies tell us the history from Jason Pollock and from Billy Hayes. We know that real histories, but those movies really show it in another way. Amazing movies, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
They're wonderful movies.
So that's your answer.
Yeah. Maybe you want to ask the question again. Maybe I didn't get it.
Okay. You had felt in
Hold
these
it,
movies.
you're freezing.
No, don't worry. You had felt in these movies like Hans Namut, like a person who is showing to the world, because we know that Hans is the photographer that is showing to the world a new way to see reality with art. Oh, what? Oh my God. Okay, don't worry. What you're going to show us?
Yeah, I met Hans Namut's son, and he gave me this picture.
Wow. Oh,
and I was in his office, in the original office of Hans Namut. And I met him, and he gave me that picture. I just love that picture.
Wow.
I love it. I think you answered everything.
Yeah, I mean, it is, if you were asking is there a difference between playing real people and made up people? There is a difference. There is a kind of responsibility that you have. And it's true for the Schindler's List as well. He was a real guy. There is a kind of responsibility you have towards these people that's different than an imagined character, if that's what you were asking.
Yes, no, and I know we don't have to talk about Midnight Express because they're amazing movies.
Yeah.
And not only Midnight Express, you also appear in The Teen, and Chaplin. Oh, I will continue. John, yo creo que ya lo dijo todo. Dame la siguiente. Okay, this is the last question. La última, ¿sí?
Sí.
Okay.
John also loved the movie Hocus Pocus, and I love the comedy Three Amigos. By the way, I'm a Latino.
Amigo.
So what is the difference?
Yeah. That was fun.
Yes. What is the difference that you feel that is happening with those comedies back in those years and the comedies that we see now?
Well, that's a good question. They're the sort of youthful comedies these days, I don't even watch. They're not my cup of tea. Some of that is probably age. There is, God, what's the difference? Like I said, I mean, I really don't watch most of them. I can't even think of the last one that I watched, but there was a difference. What is the difference? Maybe the writers, for me, it's a generational thing. I'm just not that interested in the jokes these days. But there are still, I think, I mean, I saw something recently, I can't remember what it was, but it was sort of a almost serious comedy about young people trying to figure out life, sex, relationships now, and culturally, I mean, they have been different, I mean, they're more personal comedies, not a comedy like Three Amigos, which is just sort of a hoot, but there's some good writing going on these days as well.
Hello. Norbert,
Okay.
una pregunta. ¿Tú tienes algún recuerdo de pronto que nos pueda enseñar de un DVD, un filme sobre tus amigos, la lista de Schindler o algo? No sé.
Okay, now for the end, because you show us the picture from the song from Hasnamut, you have some memorabilia that you can show us now, so we can end up for a
I'd have to
movie.
be walking around. Let me see. Memorabilia. There is, because of the thing, you know, let me see if I detach the computer from electricity, will I lose you?
Please
Because my,
John, ¿cierto que si desconecta el computador nos pierde?
in other words, I don't need electricity. I have electricity in the
No,
computer.
Yes, show us. Detach it.
Let me see if I can detach it. Well, I'm going to lose sound. Let me see if I can, but how much I can move my computer.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh my God.
What are you seeing there? You see
Yes,
this?
I see the from the team. Yes.
Let me see if I can.
Okay, don't worry.
no worry.
It's these days I got these invitations to go to meetings, you know, and sell my autograph, and I decided I can't do that. I mean, people come by to my house and have me autograph pictures and posters, and I do that for free. To charge money for it just seems weird. But there is a thing.
Oh my God.
There's all these. I get these T-shirts, you know, with my character on it, actually from South America, from Brazil, I think. A couple of beautiful T-shirts with my character on it. Then somebody made an action figure, you know, of my character, and then this thing back there, which I don't know, what can you see? Let me see. It because of daytime, somebody made you know, he called it, what the fuck just happened?
Oh, veo que va a llorar, man.
With my this thing, he did the title in German, Das Ding.
Das Ding.
I have to figure out what's going
Wow.
on. Okay, and let me see. In the daytime, you can't see it, but you can light it up.
Oh, man. No, pues.
Did you see that? Can you see the blue in it?
Of course, we see it. Oh my God.
Well, I can take that off. Let me see.
Oh,
You know, so these
my God.
they have these great fan bases, and they just, you know,
Wow.
So, you know, that's kind of fun. To also the thing itself died at the box office, and now it has this huge fan base of people. So that's sort of a trip, you know, where people call me up, say, ask me for my address, and then they send me these things, you know. So that's kind of fun, you know. It's enjoyable.
Wow, I'm speechless, but John, dime.
Oh, Schindler's List.
Okay.
Oh.
Spielberg. Yeah.
No, man. Wow.
Spielberg sent me. Oops. Spielberg sent me this book.
Wow.
And with pictures in it.
Oh my God, that is scene, man. That scene is crushing.
And that photographer was extraordinary.
Wow.
I mean, he's an extraordinary photographer. And he was also the same photographer. This is actually a good story. He was the same photographer on Chaplin.
Janusz Kaminski? No, not Janusz.
No, photographer, not cinematographer.
Not photographer.
Still photographer. And he knew that Alan Parker was being honored in Poland, in the same city that we were at. And he said, let's go to that, there was some sort of a dinner, let's go to the dinner and see Alan. And we walked in, and I walked up to Alan, and he didn't recognize me because I had a beard. It was 7 years before. I had long hair in Midnight Express. And he sort of looked at me going, as we were shaking hands, going, I know you, but I don't know from where. And I said, it's Norbert. And it was just, we both sort of started crying, actually, because that movie meant a lot to both of us. I mean, it put me on the map, basically. And then when he came home, we had dinner together, and he offered me the part of in the other movie. So if I hadn't met him in Poland, he would have never given me that part. So that was sort of a nice little addition to doing Schindler's List.
Wow. John, lo que tú digas.
No, estoy muy conmovido, Norbert, y solamente quiero darte las gracias. Y mire, muchos fans de Latinoamérica te preguntan, ¿cuándo fue tu última entrevista aparte de esta?
What was your last interview before this?
Interview. I had I forget these things these days. There was it's gone. What was it? There was somebody who interviewed me. I can't think of it.
How many years?
Huh?
How many years?
No, it was not that long ago. It was like there's actually more interviews now that I do. Well, no, in the past you usually do interviews when the movie shows, and you do press. That's different. But people now interview me like you do. They come by or they actually, now I get it. I did a play called the Coyote Cycle by Murray Mednick. And it's a play that we developed over 7 years. It has 7 different parts, 7 different episodes, and it's all done outside. It's based on the character of Coyote, a Native American character. And it starts at dusk and ends at dawn, for real.
Wow.
The audience spends the entire night on 7 different sets. And we are just now making, and in a way there was interviewing, we're making a movie of the making of the Coyote Cycle. We've toured it around the country, and after a while I also directed it with a different cast in San Francisco. And also I directed and co-directed with Murray Mednick a version of it that went to Yugoslavia before Yugoslavia fell apart. And that they just did an interview with me about the making of these plays. And the other interview was about Albert Pune. They're trying, there's a couple of guys, people, a woman and a man, trying to make a movie about the life and the work of Albert Pune, which I'm really glad about because he needs something like that. There is a book also that recently came out about his movies by a critic. And there's an interview in that of me. But they interviewed him and a lot of the cast and also some of the producers for the film. And I'm not sure if they could finish it simply because Albert right now is in not very good shape. But I don't know where that movie is going. It's a documentary on Albert Pune. And I have no idea where that is, in its development.
Norbert, please, can you give a salute, a hi to Colombia, to the channel? And we're going to take a picture so we can show to the social media. Yeah. But first, a salute to Colombia.
Colombia, salute.
Yes.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
I have my brother-in-law lives in Nicaragua and he speaks Spanish very well. Is there some way that he could, I'd have to write some of this down, that he could watch this online when it's being shown, or
Of
maybe
course.
download it or something? How would we do that?
I will, of course, the interview is going to be uploaded to the channel, to the YouTube channel. But if he wants, yes, a copy, a version, yes, I know John can send it to the mail, so he can download it.
Yeah, so in other words, you send me a link.
Yes, we will. John will
Send
send you
me a link. I send the link to him and he on his computer can link up with it.
Yes, but if he wants the interview, so he can save it for himself, John, when it's all edited, he can download it.
Download it. So you can send me a link too, because I'd love to see it. Yeah.
It will be an honor. It will be an
Okay,
honor.
cool.
Yo te
All right.
envío la entrevista editada, tú la descargas también para que tú la subas.
Of course, and you can upload it if you want it. It's yours, because
good.
I had to tell you before this ends. This channel is not my ideas. It's John's idea. I'm just I'm feel blessed and lucky to be the translator. I know he created this channel because in Cucuta, the city we live, is like a border with Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
We don't got movie schools, but we feel that this is the way to show to the people, hey, you can continue doing movies, you can continue learning, you can continue loving the movies, because in this city it's crazy. We don't got film schools, but we got film directors. So it's like and man, I'm talking by myself. I'm so moved and so honored to be translating you and interviewing you. You had appeared in many movies and stuff that I love.
My
Gracias.
pleasure.
Gracias.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. This was fun.
Oh,
Lots of fun. Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Norbert.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios. Hasta luego.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Ja.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Tschüss. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Tschüss. All right.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, don't forget to follow your son, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.